Well, you're very blessed. Whether you know it or not, you're blessed. And I'm going to tell you more after this quick switch up. You're listening to Brokeman Radio Worldwide, home of the champions, where you can be broke and still be classy. It's a beautiful day. It's a Sunday morning edition. It's time for us to slow down the big cougar and just relax. Now, if you have to work, it's still your Sunday as well. So when you get off work, prop up your feet, get you a big glass of ice cold southern tea, and just chill for a while. Sunday is a good time for us to really reflect on the many blessings that we do have. If you're facing hard times and not knowing how you're going to pay your bills, if you're having trouble with your kids or the schools, or there's a lot of things going on in your life that have got you thinking that maybe the world is against you. Maybe possibly God's just too busy to deal with what you have to really think about daily. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are blessed. Did you wake up this morning? You're blessed. Do you have food on your table? Do you have shelter? Because there are so many people out there living behind dumpsters, living in the woods, and I don't call names. These are the cases that I love to deal with because I find out the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story, when I hear the stories from my homeless friends, and they tell me some of the really terrible things people have said to them, things people have done to them as for humiliating them. It really makes me feel sad. But I got one guy that calls me. He calls me all the time, and he's a really good friend of mine now. And he's still homeless, but he loves to call me and pray at night. I don't have much money. Listen, this is Brokeman Radio, but I am there for him in his time to pray to God. And to share that with me is really awesome. I feel blessed to have that friendship. It's not about, truthfully, what you could give someone in the sense of financial gain. Maybe that person out there that's sitting on the curve that has nobody really would just love to have somebody that seemed to care, seemed to listen, and really meant it. Possibly take them to church, possibly buy them a Bible, possibly pray with them. These are things that you should think about. I thought about. Until finally one day I got off my selfish ambitions of just wanting to drive by and say, I'm not dealing with that. Now, it could be something else. It could be a coworker that's brokenhearted over losing a family member. It could be, somebody that you know that God is really telling you to go and do something for that person. But you're not going to be here eternity. You're going to be here a lifetime, and your card can be pulled at any minute, so why not? But Paul in the Bible makes his transformation in the book of Acts, chapter 9. Now, you should look this up when you get the chance. Paul, breathing threats against the Christians, turns around and changes his life after running into Jesus on the road to Damascus. Beautiful story, changes his name from Saul to Paul and begins a new walk. But many people didn't take well to Paul because Paul had been persecuting Christians. And now his employer was like, what are you doing? So he was not the popular guy in town at the time. You and I have grown to love some of Paul's writings, Romans and Corinthians, and most of the New Testament, a majority, had his hand touched by Paul. Well, of course, by God. But Paul was inspired by God, and it shows. But his last writings was in 2 Timothy. And what a heroic, small book in the Bible. Only 4 chapters. And let me just say, Paul knows that he's going to die. Paul is writing to Timothy that he considers to be close as a son. And he is trying to encourage Timothy to continue the fight. Oh, Timothy's young. He still has that young buck mentality. I'm not really sure if I want to do this, maybe not. And Paul's making sure that Timothy knows that he did make the right choice. And as we know today, Christianity is all over the world. If you never heard of Jesus before, then you definitely have been living in the middle of a desert with no cell service and absolutely nobody coming by to see you. Let's check your pulse if you've been out there that long. But that name, Jesus, is a very powerful one. When you're going through a hard time, just call that name. If you really need someone to talk to, just talk to Jesus. God is listening. His Son came to save this world, and God loves you dearly. But in the book of Timothy, I just really, truthfully, would just recommend reading 2 Timothy. Just get into that one and realize that this man is about to face execution. His trial's not going well, and he's really about to say goodbye. He's done a lot of wonderful things. He knows where he's going. He knows where he's been. Where are you going? That's a cool one there. And these are things I ask myself. I'm like, so where are you going? I'm going to heaven. Huh. Can you bring somebody with you? Oh, I'll try. Wouldn't it be cool if someone was out there? I don't know, you may not be close to them at all, but if God's put it on your heart to go and talk to them and just be a friend. Show them the compassion that God showed us after we were living in a heinous situation on the way to hell. And there's many people that are going to go to hell, and that is not a good thing to think of. But the Bible don't lie. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. It's a narrow path to heaven, folks. It's not just everybody gets in. As the funerals, everybody gets in according to funerals. And of course they're going to say that. No one wants to think of their family member going to hell. But it's a narrow path to get to heaven. But what if you were a part of, and that person was a part of, and then a couple other people were a part of? Just because you took the time to drop your pride and to talk about Jesus and what he can really do. Now, if you're listening and you're like, look, I'm going through a rough patch here. Just got drunk last night, going through a hard time, and I'm really truthfully needing to get close back to God again. Now, here we go. I'm so glad you're listening, because let me tell you, I was just that way. I was just that way. I've been sober 3 years now, but I'll tell you this. Not a day goes by that I don't thank God for delivering me. And all I really did was ask God to take it. But you are so blessed. You are so loved. If you're listening, you are so blessed to be here. I would like to end this Brokeman radio broadcast this morning with just a beautiful thought. Just a beautiful thought. One of these days you're gonna pass away, and it's gonna be sad to your family and those that you love. But you're gonna be reunited with people that you miss. That you're gonna be, most importantly, reunited with the true meaning, your true name, and stand before God in all his majesty. That's a big one. Are you ready for that? I mean, are you ready for that? Are you ready to stand in front of God today? Because if you are, hey, listen, that's awesome. But if you're not, let's get there. Let's do that. Brokeman Radio Worldwide. A lot of people wondered, man, why do you do this for? You may have just found out and listened to the reason. Man. Much love. I guess we'll have a show tomorrow, I hope, if the Lord willing. But until then, hey, listen, I'm going to pray for you. You pray for me. And then we're going to continue to pray together. And I want everybody to understand to count your blessings, the food that you eat every day, the home that you live in, the job that you have, and the opportunity, listen to this one, the opportunity to live forever, not 5 years, not 10 years, doesn't end in 25, no contracts, nothing, forever. This has been Brokeman Radio Worldwide. Much love.